18-year-old, and you know, my oldest daughter, in my opinion, she was, I didn't classify as her a woman until, the same way I would classify as me as being a man is like, doing things as an adult, you know, having a job, car, stability, your mentality, so forth and so on. Um, but as far as a woman, I don't know. I mean, the condition of being a woman, I'm not a woman. I've raised children. I was
Okay,
raised
well,
around children, and, I
let's
was
flip up
raised
the
around
question a
women.
little bit. Let's flip up the question a little bit. What is a necessary condition to be a man?
In my perspective, there's like you have like a guideline there. You're considered a child until you reach a certain point in your life to where,
Right, for
you
sure.
can, like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not really good at explaining things like in scientific terms or anything like that. But in my opinion, I didn't classify myself as being a man until I was physically capable of doing things on my own without having any
Okay,
parental
so
help.
one condition for being a man is reaching the age of maturity.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I can get behind that. Are there any other necessary conditions for being a man?
I mean, not really. I think maturity on both parts is kind of where it is. I mean,
So if,
like
if
you
there's
if
no
you
other conditions for being a man, then everyone who has reached the age of maturity is a man, including women.
no, no.
Right. So of course, women are not men. So there's more to being a man than just reaching the age of maturity. What else is it?
Um, I mean, it's more of a self thing, like where you sit at in your life, where you feel as you're comfortable enough to, settle down and be where you want to be.
I don't understand.
Um, so for me, as an example, where I felt I reached a point of where I felt as though is where I classified myself as a man is when I became a parent.
So we're still more or less talking about the age of maturity.
Yeah. But I don't really feel like there's nothing else in line with that as far as,
Right. Do women reach an age of maturity?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Right. And when a woman reaches the age of maturity, does she become a man?
No, no,
Of
she
course
still
not.
remains a
Of
woman.
course not.
No.
So that's what we're
Yeah.
looking for. We're looking for what is like one condition is reaching the age of maturity, but we need more than that. Otherwise men and women are the same exact thing by your definition.
Well, I mean, also too. I mean, it's like the stage of like hitting puberty as a woman, like period, menstrual cycle. Like
Okay, this
uh,
we can work with. Do all women have periods?
no, no,
Of
they
course
don't.
not. So, right. So therefore, having a period is not a necessary condition of being a woman.
Well, I mean,
One
it's
second, I got
not an
someone else
uncommon.
requesting. I'm
It's
gonna bring
well,
up with
no.
you.
What's that?
I got another person I got to bring up with you. I'm bringing up all the ops. Everyone who requests is getting accepted. How you doing, Lainey?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right? How old are you?
I'm 21.
Fantastic. Are you an op?
No, I'm not an op.
Okay, I appreciate you, but you have a good day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Wait.
Op only, please, guys. Please proceed, Jay.
Okay, so I mean, I forget what we were just the last thing we were talking about before you said you were bringing somebody else in.
Yeah, we were talking about how having a period is
Oh,
not
yeah,
a
yeah,
necessary
yeah, yeah,
condition for
yeah.
being a woman.
I mean, no, like not all women, like like females transitioning into womanhood, which is like what the classification has been for years, and that females reach a certain level of maturity when they hit like their period or, you know, whatever the case may be. But in a lot of cases, that doesn't happen. Like my daughter, for example, didn't hit that level, with her menstrual cycle until she was 18, and her friends hit it at 13. So that doesn't like, basically justify that they were women at that age and she wasn't considered a woman at her age either.
Right.
And
So what we're looking for is a condition that applies to the entire group, regardless of age or anything. What is a necessary condition for being a woman? I have three more people requesting. I'm going to bring all three up. Give me 1 second.
all right.
This is going to be a wild live, guys. Hello, Trent.
Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to join this, Adora. My bad.
Okay, no problem. You have a good day. Hello, Memo.
Yeah, we spoke last time.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
Fantastic. Are you up?
Yeah, I'm up.
Fantastic. Okay. Jay, you can proceed with your points.
So, basically, like the condition of being a woman is like, having a vagina, having a uterus, having the ability to bear a child and give birth.
Can all women give birth?
No, they can't.
Therefore, have the ability to give birth is not a necessary condition for being a woman.
Correct. But, in most circumstances, it's the most common thing.
Most women can give birth. Most, but not all. So we're looking for a condition that applies to the entire group without exception.
I guess like the only other thing I could probably say would be like the female anatomy.
What specifically?
Um, just like, the body structure, the bones, stuff like that, I mean, the common aspects of a woman, like their figure, their looks, looks and appearance are the same thing, but um, their voice. I mean, and just being a female. I mean, just being a woman in general, or.
So you're saying being a female is a necessary condition for being a woman?
What's that?
You're saying being a female is a necessary condition for being a woman?
Well, no, I mean, a female is a female. I mean, a female woman.
You know there's a difference between female and woman, right? Those words have different definitions.
I mean, I look at them as pretty much the same thing. I mean, when I approach somebody, I say, like, are you, if you're a female, you're a female. If you're a woman, you're a woman. I mean, I'm not going to
But
say,
they have
like,
different definitions. If you look up the definition of woman and female, you will get different definitions.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell me what the difference between a woman and a female is?
Well, I mean, honestly, like to me, I think they're the same thing.
Okay, so you don't recognize the difference. So sex is biological. It is your chromosomes, your genitalia, your gonads, your neurological sex, your hormonal sex. Gender is psychological and social. Woman is a gender. Female is a sex.
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta get my phone on a charger. My battery's gonna die. Hold on one
No
second.
problem. Yep. Anyone else who would also like to speak is welcome to do so.
Hold up. I'm
Everyone
just
else
trying
should
to
be
take
tapping
care
away,
of.
guys. Let's get it up to 50,000 likes and share the fuck out of that live. 400 people, come on. We should be doing way better than that, guys. Way better.
Trying to calm my 3 kids right now. Just give me a sec.
No problem. How you doing,
Hello?
Upside Down Smiley?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. And you've been on here several times, right?
Yeah, I've been on once. I think we had the discussion yesterday as well. I think I've done some like research and stuff. And I don't know if this is correct, probably isn't, but the latest thing on Google says that the necessary condition to be a woman was to be born female.
Okay, so let's work with that then. What gender are intersex people?
Well, that's going back to the whole point that they can choose, really.
But they can't. If you talk to intersex people, they will not tell you that they chose their gender. They simply recognized what their gender is.
But can they not choose? Like, if they've got two obviously genitals, can they not pick which one they want to keep?
I mean, you could argue that they can choose to get surgery or not, but you can't really argue what their gender is. Their gender is developed between the ages of 3 and 7. They don't choose that gender, regardless of whether they're intersex or not. It is
So
not
when
a
they
choice that is made.
so when they reach the age of 18, then, and they decide actually, or whatever the age is that they if they decide at 4 years old that they want to be a female, if they are intersex, can they then say that they are a female and turn to a female? Because that would still work if
No,
they're
an
born.
intersex person will always be intersex, no matter what.
Oh, so does intersex people have ovaries?
Some, not all.
Because I mean, if they've got ovaries, then yeah, I mean that's the whole point of intersex, isn't it? But it's kind of one of them things where if
No,
they've got
some
ovaries.
intersex people have both ovaries and testes.
Oh,
Yep.
I think intersex is a whole different topic though to what you're asking.
Sure, it's different for sure. But it's relevant because you're saying that the definition, that in order to be a woman, you must be an adult human female. Can an intersex person be a woman? I have a few people I want to bring up here real quick. Let me just age check them real quick, and then we'll continue on.
Yeah.
Please remember, everyone, we are doing op only for this. This is 1v6.
Oopsies.
Yeah. Hello, Justice. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Fantastic. And are you op?
Yep.
Fantastic. Stephanie, how old are you? You with me, Stephanie?
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to connect. I'm sorry. That was
No problem.
on accident.
You have a good
not
day.
an op.
Bye. Okay, there was a couple other people here. It's hard maintaining a full box.
Can you
Hello,
hear
Kiko.
me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How old are you, please?
Can you hear me?
If I'm talking to Kiko, yes, I can. Aang, how you doing? Yep, I lost them both. Okay, well, let's proceed with this four for now. Upside down smiley, please continue.
Sorry, what was we saying?
We were talking about intersex people and whether or not an intersex person can be a woman.
Yeah, so I understand what intersex is. So it's someone that's obviously born with both parts, if that's correct.
It's one way to be intersex. Yep.
What's the other way to be intersex? Like, can you choose to be intersex, or is it just are you born
cannot choose.
intersex?
You are born intersex. Being intersex just means that you have ambiguous sex characteristics, which can mean various chromosomal combinations. It can mean having both genitalia, etc.
Right. So, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not intersex, so I couldn't speak on behalf of someone who is, because obviously there is people that is, and I didn't even know intersex was a thing until I was joining these live streams, and obviously I've learned about it. But if I was, well, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to speak to someone that is intersex to see how they well, they'll say they see themselves as intersex, won't they? They won't say they're a gender, I suppose.
I mean, intersex people do generally have gender. I'm sure some intersex people are agender, which is a thing. But yeah, most intersex people have a gender.
And that can be male or female.
So, those are sexes. So you have male, female, and intersex, and then as far as gender, there are a bit over 100 of them.
So, sorry. So, what is gender? Is gender woman and man? Sorry, I'm just a bit confused.
Woman, man, intersex, not intersex, woman, man, non-binary, etc.
And is that like? I'm probably totally wrong, but is that the same as like gay and like bisexual?
No, those would be sexualities.
They're sexualities, right? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm confusing myself. I don't actually know what the necessary condition to be a woman is.
I would say that it's having a persistent, insistent, and consistent innate sense of self that says that you are a woman. Keep tapping, guys. 50,000 to gold. Tap, tap, tap away.
I think it's crazy that a lot of people don't understand that I mean, for yourself, for example, you say that you're a woman, and when I was growing up, I I thought a woman was just a female. But now you see a lot of people that say they are a woman, and
We weren't taught properly in school, and schools simplified biology too much. And
it
the end result
sounds
is that a lot of people don't know the difference between sex and gender. I didn't know until just a few years ago.
it sounds like America is completely different to the UK.
That is the truth.
Yeah, I mean it is completely different, but with the whole like debates and stuff, there isn't a lot of this in the UK. I mean, a lot of people just look at people and say, "Oh, you're a male," even if they do dress like a woman. I mean, in the UK, there's a whole the necessary thing to be a woman in the UK, I would say, is that
The necessary condition doesn't change based on location. It's the same everywhere. Because in order for it to be a necessary condition, there can't be exceptions.
yeah, like yeah. I mean, I'd like to probably step in your shoes. Well, I wouldn't, because obviously you get a lot of hate and it's not nice. But I don't know. I just think America's clearly going through a bit of a hard time with these kind of debates and stuff. And I mean, I don't even know what red and
But that's not
blue
what we're
is.
talking about. What we're looking for here is the necessary condition to being a woman. And you did make the claim that it was being female, and we have not been able to come to the conclusion whether or not an intersex person can be a woman or not.
So, sorry, is that the question? If intersex people can be a woman?
Right. We're trying to work with your necessary condition. Your necessary condition was that you have to be female.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make the claim that intersex people can be women, and intersex people are not female.
Yeah, so the debate there was that intersex people have two parts, so they can choose which one they want to be.
No, it's not a choice. You do not choose.
Not even if you've got both bits.
You can choose if you get a surgery. You cannot choose your gender.
No, so when they're born, they can't choose because they have no choice. When you're born, you're a child. You can't choose to go and have surgery, but when you're 18, you can then decide.
Okay, we're not talking about surgery. Okay, surgery has nothing to do with this. You do not choose your gender. Did you choose to be a woman?
No.
Okay, intersex people do not choose their gender. Cis people do not choose their gender. Trans people do not choose their gender.
No, so intersex people don't choose their gender. What I mean is they have the right to choose when they get older. They don't choose at birth.
They can choose if they get surgery. But whether they choose to get surgery or not, that does not change their gender. You cannot change your gender. You cannot change your sex.
Oh, yeah, so you can't, sorry, so you can't change being intersex, but they can choose whether they want to be a woman or a man.
No.
But that's not female or male, that's woman or man. Like, for you, instance, you're a transgender woman. So you were born a male, but now you say you're a female, so why can't intersex then say that they're a
Okay,
woman?
so I do not claim to be female. I'm a woman. I do not claim to be female. Keep tapping, guys. Why are we not at 50,000? Come on.
Yeah, so you are a woman.
Yes, I'm a woman.
Yeah, and you was born male. So an intersex person is born intersex. That's their gender.
Right, and now the question is, what's their gender?
They can choose.
Memo or Jay, can either of you guys help out here?
I don't know. I'm kind of on the. It's up to the person, really. The intersex. I don't know. I'm not educated on that.
Do intersex people have a gender?
Well, they're human.
My opinion is I don't think intersex people have a gender at all. I mean, and
so
to me,
intersex people have no gender.
What's that?
Intersex people have no gender.
I mean, I don't have the answer to that. I mean, as far as I know, from my education of it, is if they're born with both male and female parts, depending on what parts they are and what can be, what's the word I'm looking for? where they're more likely to transition to as far as being a male or a woman at that particular stage in their life, then that's where it goes. But as far as like being born at birth, I mean, they're both. It's I guess they would be considered both genders, right?
No, because gender and sex are different things. One second, I got 3 other people requesting. I want to bring them up real quick.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar on the whole intersex thing. I mean, I'm just going off of what I know.
All right, hang on. We'll continue there in one moment. How you doing, Tony? Tony? How you doing, Lydia?
Hi.
How old are you, please, Lydia?
23.
Fantastic. Are you opposition?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you with me, Tony? Tony? I need you to unmute, Tony. You are muted. If you don't, I will have to drop you. Okay. Please proceed.
I'm just muting myself just so you don't hear any background noise. That's all, because I'm not trying to be ignorant.
Okay. Do we all know what it means to be intersex here?
Yeah, it means you weren't born with a specific gender.
It means you have ambiguous sex characteristics, meaning sometimes you have different chromosome combinations, meaning sometimes you have both genitalia, sometimes you have an ovary and a testy. That's what it is to be intersex. It is a sex, not a gender. We all on the same page here?
Is a sex not a gender? I don't understand.
So sex is biological. It means your chromosomes, your gonads, your genitalia, your neurological sex, your hormonal sex. Gender is psychological and social.
Then I think it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we're back to the question, do intersex people have gender?
Yes.
Okay, what gender are intersex people?
I don't know. Both.
So the only person who's going to know a intersex person's gender is they themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I was trying to say is that they can present themselves, if they want to, as a woman or a man.
Sure, they can present however they want to present.
Yeah, so that's what I meant. I meant that they can say that they're a woman or a man, not that they...
So would you say then, is it safe to say that an intersex person can be a woman, they can be a man, they can be non-binary?
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that.
So that discredits the necessary condition for being a woman being female, because some women are not female.
Some women are not female.
Because some women are intersex. Does that make sense?
It's just really confusing, isn't it?
That's okay. That's okay. We can continue to work with this.
Some women are female. Yeah, so I'm a woman and I'm female.
Right, you're a woman, you're female, but some women are intersex. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, so some women are intersex and some males are intersex. Is that right?
Some women are intersex, some men are intersex.
That's it, yeah.
So does it make sense to you that being female is not enough to know if someone is a woman or not then? That being female is not the necessary condition?
No, I still wouldn't say it is.
Is being female and being intersex the same thing?
No.
Right, it's not. And so if you can be a woman and be intersex, then being female is not the necessary condition.
Yeah, because if you're intersex, you've got both parts. That's the whole point. If you're intersex, you've got both parts, so you can say whether you're a woman or a man.
We're doing laps here, upside down smiley.
Just...
I don't know how to proceed because I've said this every way I can. we both agree that intersex people can be women, right?
Yes, yeah,
We both agree that intersex people are not female.
yeah.
So therefore, the necessary condition for being a woman is not being female, because some women are not female.
But this is what I mean. The necessary condition to be a woman in I'm not gonna lie, in most people's eyes, is to have female features.
What female features specifically?
I mean, I don't want to bring Jay into it, but he said like bone structure and stuff like that.
Do all women have the
Just
same bone
like
structure?
well, not the same, not as far as the same bone structure, but I mean the same, like, you know, what do you call it? Like
I think
to make it simple, like the basic layout of like what a man's bone structure would be and what a female's bone structure would be. Like, you know, like a man's bone structure is more dense and can handle more abuse, and a woman's bone structure, you know,
Do all men
well,
have a bone density that is higher than that of a typical woman's?
say this one more time. I didn't hear you.
Do all men have a bone density that is higher than that of a typical woman's?
No, but most do.
Right. Right. So okay, I agree with you that most men have a higher bone density, but not all. Therefore, having a higher bone density is not a necessary condition of being a man. We're looking for a rule that applies to the entire group. Hang on, guys. I got 4 people requesting. I'm going to try to bring them up.
Hello,
Hello, Francis. How old are you, please?
I am 42.
Fantastic. Are you opposition?
Yes.
Fantastic. How you doing, Emily?
Hey, how's it going?
I can't hear you, Emily.
I'm sorry, I got a bad phone.
Okay, I can hear you now. How old are you?
I'm 24.
Fantastic. Are you opposition?
No, I'm not opposition.
All right. I appreciate you, Emily. You have a good day.
That's okay, you too.
Bye. How you doing, Tess?
Hi, I did not mean to click into this. I'm so sorry. I have no
All right,
idea
no
how to get
problem.
out.
You have a good day. Bye.
You as well.
Okay, let's proceed.
yeah. So I think the point is that so with the bone structures, I think that's like jawline, muscle, and things like that.
Okay, do all women have the same jawline?
No, but they have. I mean, from what I see, they've got like softer jawlines, and obviously,
Generally,
yeah,
but some women have really strong jawlines,
yeah, and I think,
right? And they're still women.
yeah,
So therefore, having a weaker jawline is not a necessary condition of being a woman.
then it just goes back to what about women giving birth and stuff like that. Like women
Can all women give birth?
No, but again, a lot of women can give birth. And
Sure, a lot of women, but can all women give birth?
No, definitely not.
Absolutely.
Therefore, giving birth is not a necessary condition to being a woman.
Well, I mean, it's everyone's opinion. I mean, there's no scientific fact of what makes a woman a woman. There is no necessary condition to be a woman. But in a lot of people's eyes, well, in my eyes, I will look at a woman and they'll, have. I mean, don't like hate me, but they'll have like long hair and they'll have feminine features and the rest of that stuff.
Sure, but those are not things that make you a woman.
I want to know what people think defines a woman. I want to know what is it that people think makes a woman different from a man? Is it because women can have babies? Is it because men can't have babies? Because nowadays people are looking at different things in a whole different light. Like I have a lot of friends that are bisexual, that are gay, and I don't look at them any different than I look at my children. And I have 8 children. And if one of my children came to me and said, I decided I want to change my gender, I would love my child regardless. And I see
That's awesome. I'd love to hear that.
so many wrong things being said on here about, well, a woman is a woman. I'm a woman. I have 8 kids. I've given birth to 8 children. But
Okay.
if at some point in my life I decided, guess what? I decide I want to show myself as a man. Who is anybody to say that I can't be who I want to be as an individual? What makes people think that we can't define ourselves as who we want to define ourselves as? Somebody one day said black was the color black, a car was a car. You're a man, I'm a woman. In all honesty, are those really facts? Is that really what people are going to say? They're going to get upset because you want to classify yourself as a man or you want to classify yourself as a woman? Why are people getting so upset about your bone structure? You can sit here and say all day long, well, a man has genital parts, a woman can make babies. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of men and there are a lot of women that, whether they want to say that they're a man or they want to say that they're a woman, that have children, that aren't a man and a woman, that are two men, or that are two women that are allowed to have. So why are so many people getting so upset?
Francis,
Yes.
I appreciate you very much, but it sounds to me like you are on my side, right?
I am and I'm not at the same time. That's what I'm
Okay.
getting to.
In what way are you not on my side?
The only thing that I have concerns with is there are sexual predators out there that will classify themselves as a woman that are generally a man. And I have a problem with that aspect of it. Not who you guys want to claim yourself to be, not who I want to claim to be, but that aspect of it. So you see these women that are men that go into the bathroom and they use the restroom with my children. I have a huge fear, and this is my fear, that what if that person is pretending to be a woman when they're a man, just so they can get into the bathroom with my child, just so they
Okay,
can
I do understand that fear, because cis men suck. A lot of cis men suck. Not all, but a lot of cis men suck. But how is that the trans community's fault? That would be an example of a cisgender man pretending to be something that he's not in order to do a bad thing. How is that the trans community's fault?
And that's my point. My point is how do we as individuals in our own brains, and this is our own problem, not your problem, not any problem. Just there's a lot of people on here that keep going back and forth for certain things, but nobody's really underlining the whole thing. I think I probably will speak for a lot of parents. Our biggest concern is what I just put out there. Not that you are identifying as a woman, not that you're identifying as a man, not you in general, just in general, I'm saying, but that we have a bigger risk of not knowing, because the unknown always scares people, and that's just a fact. People don't know how to accept the unknown. So it's not that I'm speaking for myself.
Francis, I definitely want to continue to have this conversation, but I need you to land your points a little bit faster.
I guess what
so that I can address them.
How do we know as parents that we are safe with you guys coming into the restroom, with males identifying as females and females identifying as men? How do we know that we can be safe? That's my question. How can you guys assure us?
Well, when you look at data, okay, yeah. When you look at data, we see no evidence whatsoever that there is an increase in violence towards cis people when trans people have access to the spaces of our identity. We do see the opposite, however. When trans people are forced to use the restroom that we do not identify with, the risk towards us goes up significantly. Trans people have been using the restrooms of our identities for decades and decades. If there was an increase in violence, we would see that in data, and we don't.
Right. No, I will agree with that. I think that there's a bigger picture in the whole call. There's a bigger picture here. I think that people are trying to paint that I don't agree with, but that I do agree with. But I have a lot of gay friends. I have a lot of transgender friends. And I'll be honest, like while I'm on here, I know you don't want me to talk, like you have other things to talk about. We use the restroom together and I feel safe in that aspect. But I'm saying like my 16-year-old daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, you know what I mean? Like there's more to it than what's being said in the whole thing. And I think people are just really focusing on what we really should be focusing on, and maybe focusing on things that are more important than the fact that you want to classify yourself as a woman, or that somebody wants to classify yourself as a man. And everybody keeps going back to, well, what makes you feel like you're a woman? What makes you feel like a man? Well, how as a woman can I say I'm a woman because somebody told me that I'm a woman because I can have a baby? That doesn't make me a woman.
Right. Francis, I'm very glad you're up here, and I want to keep talking to you, but I do need you to shorten your responses a little bit. So
I guess I don't understand how people can come on here and classify themselves as a woman and how they classify themselves as a man because of.
Okay, I can answer that. I classify myself as a woman because I have a persistent, innate sense of self that says that I'm a woman. That is what makes me a woman.
So you were born a man.
Assigned male at birth, and I am male still.
You're a male at birth. Your birth certificate says you were born a male.
Yes, I am
So-
male. I do not claim to be female.
But do you have genital parts? As a man.
No, I have female genitalia.
So you no longer have that.
Correct.
So in your own mind, does that justify you in your brain as a woman then?
That is not what makes me a woman.
So then my other question would be, why did you remove that?
I did that for two reasons. One is to affirm my gender, because I personally wanted my body to reflect that of a typical cis woman as much as possible. And two was to alleviate gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria causes significant distress, and having a penis caused me significant daily distress. So I got the surgery to alleviate that dysphoria.
So for you, that's what it did, but for others, maybe not so much, right?
Right,
There's
exactly.
people that can't do it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's in my brain. I just wanted to know what made you feel like you're a woman and not no more a man. And was that something that you chose to do because it's what you wanted, or how did you get to this point?
I needed to alleviate that distress. It had to happen.
So you just didn't want to be a man then, right?
I never was a man.
So
I needed my body to better reflect that of a typical cis woman.
So at what age did you decide in your own brain that you weren't a man, you were a woman?
I recognized that I was a girl at the age of 4.
The age of 4. And
Yes.
Did you always classify yourself as a woman from the age of 4, or was this something that happened later on in life?
I definitely didn't understand that trans people existed, so I thought that I was a boy, even though deep inside I knew that I was a girl. I discovered what being transgender was in my early 20s. Unfortunately, at the age of 4, I also very quickly learned not to show any feminine characteristics, and that I should be ashamed of any feminine characteristics that I had. So I hid that away very well. I hid it away even from myself.
So, and I apologize, I'm getting a lot of rude comments. I'm only asking this question because I feel like if you shared that with more people, where you came from and when you identified yourself, maybe people would be so more open and understanding of who you are as an individual and what you guys choose to do because of your stories behind it. Not that one day.
Why I do this. That is exactly why I do this. Everyone says I do this just for money, and I do it for money. I do. But I also do this to destigmatize the existence of trans people.
Well, I appreciate you.
Hey up, everyone.
Question, and I really appreciate you letting us all know, like, at what point this started for you and how. I love that you're doing this because this needs to be heard, and people need to understand in this world that this is a huge thing. And I'm with you, and on certain things, and I'm with you, not on with you in other areas. But I am so thankful that you're doing what you're doing, and I just want to say thank you.
I appreciate you.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay. Before we continue on, guys, I have 2 more people requesting. I'm going to bring them on up. If everyone can keep tapping that screen, I really want to get some people in here. I want this live to be cooking. I want to have 6 people up here constantly, but I don't have enough guest requests right now. And if I don't have enough guest requests, then I can't keep the box full. I can hear you, Aang. Yes.
Can you? I can't hear you. Wait.
I can hear you perfectly fine, Aang. Oh, there you go. Both the people I just brought up dropped. Let's try Holly. Hello, Holly. How you doing? Holly, you with me? Hello? Holly, I would love to have a conversation with you, but I do need to know your age, and in order for that to happen, you need to talk. I can't hear you. Sorry, Holly, I'm going to have to drop you. Okay, all right. Who would like to speak next?
So I was just going to say as well, well, sorry, I know we don't talk about other people, the previous guest, I think
in this case, we're going to make exceptions to that because we're going to have 6 people up here at a time. I'm not going to be able to track everyone straight up, so we can make exceptions here.
Yeah, so with the understanding, the more, again, I'm going off topic slightly, with understanding that there will be female, transgender women and transgender men, I think the problem as to why people are not, a lot of people don't understand is because I mean, we're going like back in the day before I was born. This wasn't a thing. So obviously people were scared. People didn't want to speak about it, and a lot of people probably knew that they were in the wrong body, but people didn't want to. People didn't come forward and say it. So this is kind of a new thing. I feel like people just can't grip to, and people just think that that's the reason why people think there's only two genders. And
I mean, right. That comes back to our education system failing us, that they let us down when it comes to the definitions, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, people. I didn't get taught in school that there was this many genders, and I didn't even know what transgender meant until I knew more about it when I joined the live stream. So I feel like it is. I mean, people disagree, but I feel like it is a new thing. I don't mean to say thing. I just don't know what to say really. I just think that it is a new topic. In reality,
It's new to the mainstream. I mean, trans people have been around for ages.
Yeah, the trans community, I mean, just in general, has been around for hundreds of years. I mean, it's been a known thing, like Mayans, Aztec, Incans, Romans. I mean, it's not like something that just popped up out the blue. I mean, it's been known.
Yeah, but this is the problem. It's not that known in the UK. It's known. It's known.
You know, one thing I recommend you do is search I Am Jazz, and that will explain. You just watch her, and then it will give you a good understanding of transgender people. Like, that's how I learned, kind of thing. But I'm still opposition. Like, I believe that people are born that way, but I still have my beliefs, kind of thing. But just watch her, and then you'll understand. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Jazz Jennings. I did try to put Darlin up, guys, but Darlin did not connect. Let's try again with Darlin.
Can I just mention something?
Hang on 1 second, Lydia. How you doing, Darlin?
Oh, hi, I'm good.
How old are you, please?
18.
Fantastic. What year were you born?
2005.
Okay. And are you opposition?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to let Lydia speak, and then whoever wants to speak can continue from there.
I guess what I think is one necessary condition to be a woman, it starts from like socialization, like growing up within school, but also with things like getting your first period, you know, going through your menstrual cycle, having those experiences.
Hey, Lydia, your background noise is pretty bad. Is there something you can do about that?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned periods. Do all women have periods?
Yeah, I know that not all women get periods, but I just think it's something that helps what it means to feel like a woman, you know? I think
I would say that it's typical of women to have periods. It's typical of females to have periods. But in both cases, it is not the rule. In both cases, there are exceptions.
Yeah, I just think it starts from a very young age, you know.
So you also mentioned socialization. I would say that yes, most females are socialized to be girls and then women. Are all females socialized to be women?
I don't want to get onto the topic of intersex again, but I think growing up, you know, you really establish who you are from a young age, and I think, you know, you're defined as a girl or a boy from a young age.
Sure, it is typical for someone who is female to be socialized to become a woman, but that is not always the case. Some females are socialized to be men, or to be masculine, etc.
What do you mean? Sorry.
You have like man features and a man voice.
Sure. Yeah, I have a masculine voice and I have masculine facial features, but so do some cisgender women.
Do you have a vagina?
Yes, I do.
I think this just goes to show that some people are brought up in a world where, I mean, I'm not saying everyone is, but me personally, a lot of people are brought up in the world that, I mean, it can include your parenting as well, depending how your parents were growing up. It can change your whole aspect on things. Like I was brought up
How
that
you're?
there's
Yeah.
male.
Sorry, I interrupted. Please proceed.
If you do have a vagina, then isn't it fake though?
No, it's not fake. It's a real vagina.
Because of the surgery.
Is it a real vagina though, like biological vagina?
I mean, it's a biological means living. It is living, and it is a vagina, so yes.
So do you have an ovary?
I do not.
So can you get an ovary?
I cannot. Not yet. It's expected to happen within the next 10 years, but not yet.
Oh. So what will happen if you can get an ovary in 10 years then? Will you be able to then, I mean, I'm sorry, this is a bit intimate, but does that mean then you can get with a male and make babies, or?
The expectation is that trans women will soon be able to give birth, yes.
And that would that not do anything to the surgery though? Like, would that not interfere with? Because obviously, surgery.
The expectation is we'll be able to give birth via C-section, not vaginally.
Right. Okay. So, when you say that you've had surgery, I mean, I don't want to talk about private parts. But I'm curious to ask.
You're welcome to ask us, no matter how personal the question, so long as it is a genuine question, I will answer.
Yeah, I just don't want to obviously make you feel uncomfortable or anything, but does the surgery actually completely remove the male parts, and do they?
It does not, no. About approximately 93% of what was there is still there. It's simply been rearranged. However, I no longer have testicles.
So do they just like cut a hole then, and like?
Kinda. I mean, like I said, they rearrange what is already there. My scrotum was used to increase the depth of my vaginal canal. The tip of my penis is now my clitoris, etc.
Oh, so they kind of like push it back, kind of.
Yep, kind of.
What bathroom do you use? Because if you were in the women's bathroom, I would be scared, to be honest.
Yeah, I use the women's restroom because I am a woman.
Yeah, again, I mean, I can see why some people would probably be a bit intimidated, but you can't just. I don't feel like you can just judge someone that walks into the bathroom. Like, I go into the bathroom and I go to the bathroom to do my business and leave.
Right, that's exactly what I do as well.
Yeah, so sometimes you get. Don't get me wrong, I think a lot of people will look at people if they look not like a woman and wonder why they're in the woman's bathroom, but...
This kind of sounds more like a Q&A than anything.
Yeah, we're supposed to be debating here, guys, so I am happy to answer questions, but I really want to debate the topic specifically.
What do you think about women's bodies being built? So I know a lot of women can't have babies, or, but what do you think about a woman's body being built to serve that purpose, as in having wider hips, or, having...
I don't think that the purpose of being a woman is giving birth.
No, I wouldn't say it's the purpose, but it's what makes a female.
Thank you so much for the swan. I appreciate you, Gabrielle. Thank you so much.
Female, though, so to be built to give birth, I know women...
I'm not claiming to be female. I would say that it is typical of a female to be able to give birth, but not all females are capable of that either.
Okay.
Guys, keep tapping, see if we can hit 100K. I don't know why TikTok is not giving me the views right now, but come on. We got to at least break 1,000 views.
I think the question's just a bit. It's hard to have a debate when the question is, what is a necessary condition to be a woman? Because a lot of people have their own opinions on what the necessary condition is.
Yeah,
So it's just
Right, and we can debate those opinions. That's what we're here to do, debate those opinions.
yeah. So for instance, like a lot of people have said, they think the necessary condition to be a woman is to be able to have babies and to be able to experience periods and stuff, and that's what
Right.
makes a woman a woman.
I mean, if that's what makes them a woman to themselves, good for them. But we've already established that having a period is not something that all women are capable of.
But this stuff that women do have that I mean, what about chromosomes, for example? That's a necessary condition to be a woman.
I understand why people would think that. It's not true. The vast majority of females do have XX chromosomes, but some females have XY chromosomes. It's called Swyer syndrome.
So in that instance, then, are they a woman?
They can be. The point I'm making is that people with Swyer syndrome are still female, and they can be women. They usually are women, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what other condition there is. I think these other two people aren't really saying anything to debate.
Yeah, they are kind of just sitting there. Hi, Jay. Hi, Memo. You guys are welcome to contribute.
No, I was just waiting until like you guys were done talking, and I have my
Yeah, you
earbuds
can
in and I'm
say
charging my
something.
phone. I mean, like, I feel like the debate is kind of just like an open window at this point because, I mean, there's a lot of things that define a woman as who they are. And, you know, granted that there's things that they can't do, like reproduce. Like some women can't have babies, some women don't have ovaries, some women are born without those things. There's intersex, there's everything. So it's kind of like an open window debate on what the definition of being a woman is. I mean, like you said, it's like, you know, like it's in yourself. Like, you know, that's what you see yourself as. So, I mean, it's kind of just, again, it's just an open window. I mean, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion on who they feel they are.
I think that a lot of these opinions are simply wrong.
But
I would agree. I would agree with you to a certain extent. You know, but on the same note, I mean, again, it's an open window. I mean, you know, you can, if a woman classifies himself as a woman but doesn't have any of the, you know, that just has partial woman parts, like as far as like, you know, for example, like they were born without ovaries or a uterus, you know, or, you know, whatever the case may be, or without breasts, or, you know, but they're still classifying themselves as a woman because that's who they feel they are.
I mean, great. If an individual person wants to define their womanhood by their genitalia, good for them, on the condition that they will acknowledge that not everyone defines their womanhood by their genitalia.
But most people do, and that's
Sure. I don't care about most. A necessary condition means everyone.
I just think the main purpose of being a woman again is just a woman is made to be a woman, have babies, reproduce, make families, and that's the whole
Okay,
point.
so that may be your purpose, but that's not every woman's purpose.
Yeah, I know plenty of women that don't want kids.
Yeah, but what I mean is though most women.
Okay, again, I don't care about most. I'm looking for a condition that applies to everyone without exception.
And that would just be linking back to chromosomes then.
Okay, but then we've got to talk about people with Swyer syndrome. Sure, most women have XX chromosomes. Most. Some women have XY chromosomes. They're still women.
But males don't have any type of chromosome that a woman has.
Yeah, they have the X chromosome.
But they've still got all the chromosomes that's what makes them a male.
Some men have XX chromosomes.
So why are they male then?
Because there's 5 sex characteristics. Chromosomes is one of them. So they can have other sex characteristics that are male.
mean, yeah, I don't really know. Women back then were just made to clean the kitchen, cook. So
I was just reading. I was just reading a comment that Becky said, "I'm a woman and I have kids, but I've been trying to find a return policy for them." Sorry, that's just funny to me. That's hilarious.
I don't know. I mean, there's nothing else to say. I mean, if you had a different background that said what toilet should I use, I'd be good at that. But the necessary condition to be a
All right,
woman,
what toilet should I use?
Yeah, this topic's kind of hard to debate.
it is the
I mean, it's not really a hard topic to debate.
It's
It's just
weird.
I have a necessary condition, guys. I have one that applies to the entire group.
I think that it's the topic. It's just too. There's no answer, so it's just
But
confusing.
there is. I just told you guys that I have an answer.
To me, I say that you should call yourself a trans woman, not a woman. But that's me, right? That's because there
Right,
has
but
to be a
when we that gets us right back here. If you're going to say that I'm a trans woman and but not a woman, what would you say that I am? You would say that I'm a man, right?
You transition into a woman, right? That's what trans means. It's transition.
If I'm not a woman, then what am I?
You're well, okay. You got me fucked. Yeah, okay. Yeah. See, I'm not. I don't know.
The thing is,
Not
though,
fucking hell.
you're asking people these questions. If you're not a woman, what am I? You're getting people to say that.
No, asking this question does not determine whether or not I'm a woman. That is definitely not a necessary condition for being a
A
woman.
trans woman. That's what you are, as a trans woman.
Okay, trans is an adjective. It describes the noun. The noun in this case would be woman. So if I'm a trans woman, I am therefore a woman.
Can we dumb it down a bit without these fucking smart words? You know what I'm saying? Just in general, man. If I were to see you, I'd see you as a trans woman. Oh, that guy transitioned into a woman. He's a trans woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be realistic. Screw all this scientific shit and just,
But why can't? Why can't trans woman? Why can't you be proud to just say trans woman?
I am proud to be a trans woman.
Yeah.
Just because I'm proud to be a trans woman doesn't mean that I'm not a woman.
But why would it not just be trans woman instead of woman?
Your volume's gone really quiet.
Hello.
I can hear you now. Yep.
Oh, yeah. So why wouldn't trans woman just be called I'm a trans woman? That's it. And then
There are two parts to that. There's the trans part and there's the woman part. Transgender is an adjective. It describes something. It describes your gender specifically. And my gender is woman. So trans is describing my womanhood.
But don't you think if you said trans woman, people would then, because if you just turn to someone and say, I'm a woman, and they have a strong opinion and say, well, you don't look like a woman. What if you said, I'm a trans woman? People would then understand a bit more, if that makes sense. People would know, oh, yeah, she's a trans woman. Now I understand.
I'm also a tall woman. I'm significantly taller than the average woman. Should I go around calling myself a tall woman as well?
Well, there's a lot of tall women, so
Sure. There's a lot of trans women. There's several 100,000 trans women in the United States.
sorry, 700,000.
Several hundred, not.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know the answer to the topic.
Right, because trans is an adjective, tall is an adjective. There's no point in me going around saying, "Hi, I'm a tall woman." There's no significant value in that unless we're specifically talking about tall women. So therefore, there's also usually there's no reason for me to call myself a trans woman because usually we're not talking about trans topics. Usually, I'm just a woman.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that there is not a necessary condition to be a woman apart from
There
being
is. I can give you one right now.
okay.
It's a persistent, innate sense of self. If you have a persistent and innate sense of self that says that you're a woman, then you are one.
Well, is that scientifically proven? Because it's not.
Yes, gender identity
My,
develops in the
I can
hypothalamus.
say this. My internal sense of self tells me I'm just deadly in bed or crazy. You know, I'm the sexiest man alive. That's my
Is how
internal sense
sexy
of
you
self.
are.
But that would be
Memo.
delusion and not true because
Memo.
I can't go around saying I'm more sex. Oh shit! Sorry.
Memo. Is how sexy you are a gender? Is sexiness a gender?
No, but it's still a.
I don't know. I don't know.
The answer is no.
It's
It is not a
I'm
gender.
just saying. No, obviously it's not.
Right, and we're talking about gender. Gender develops in the hypothalamus, in the brain, between the ages of 3 and 7. Sex appeal is a whole different thing that develops in a whole different way. Okay, guys, I got a few people requesting. I'm going to bring them up real quick. Give me 1 second. Hello, Keish.
Hi,
How old are you, please?
30.
Fantastic. And are you opposition?
I am.
Fantastic. How you doing, Nicole?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How old are you, please?
I'm 21.
Fantastic. And are you opposition?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Whoever would like to take the floor may do so.
Adora, in one of your lives, you mentioned that you don't think that you were born in the wrong body, correct?
Sometimes I say that. It's not a phrase that I love. There are some things that I wish were different about my body, for sure. And I've largely made those changes.
But okay, so what are the things that you've maintained from your biological, like when you were born? What are things that you've maintained that you do like or that you don't want to change?
I don't want to change my face any more than I already have. I had laser hair removal for my beard, but my facial structure, I think it's gorgeous just the way it is. Despite the fact that it is stereotypically masculine.
Okay, that's fair. But I'm wondering, so I understand that the argument that trans is an adjective when attached to the word woman, but wouldn't you want to make that differentiation because it, like, you are biologically a male?
Correct, I am male.
And so,
I do not deny that. And the fact that I am male and that my gender is woman is what makes me transgender.
But it's a respect thing towards. It's just like it's like to your mom, man. You got you respect your mom. You just got there has to be something to differentiate that. Like you have to give respect to your mom, kind of thing, for giving you life. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure,
it's like
I have respect
you
for
have
my
to
mom.
call yourself a trans woman.
I respect my mom.
That's
What's that have
the
to do with my
thing.
gender?
I know, but you're calling yourself a woman, but you're a trans woman. That's the thing. That's the thing is.
I just have to say, like, if you don't deny, like, being a male, why get rid of the parts that do make you male?
Sure, a valid question. So I have gender dysphoria. Not all trans people have gender dysphoria, but most of us do, approximately 60%. Gender dysphoria is a significant distress that affects you on the daily, related to some aspect of your gender. For me, I've had bottom dysphoria, top dysphoria, vocal dysphoria, facial dysphoria, these had a significant negative impact on my life. They made me want to self-unalive. So I took measures to alleviate that distress through surgery, through hormones, through laser hair removal. Those are not things that made me a woman. I did those things to alleviate my distress.
And do you have a reason, like, why you were distressed?
Yes, like when I would shower, I could not look down at all because I hated my genitalia. It made me feel gross. I could not look in the mirror because I hated my facial hair. It made me look masculine, and I didn't want to look masculine. things like that. These are things that affected me daily. It affected my ability to take care of myself. It affected my shower routine. I wouldn't fucking shower because I had to get naked and I didn't want to see my body.
So why do you guys add cis in front of say cis man, cis female? What's the point of cis?
Yes, cis is the opposite of trans. Cis means on the same side of. Cisgender means that your sex assigned at birth and your gender identity align.
Aside from sparking debate in your lives, why do you feel like you need validation that you, in fact, are a woman? Like, I don't need that validation but I'm, cisgendered, but I don't need validation. So if you were to call me a man, okay, like, that doesn't change who I am, and I don't
Fantastic.
find that
Love
to
that.
be
That's great.
marginalism.
For real, that's a great thing. But if all of society were to suddenly start calling you a man and treating you like a man, it would likely have some effect on you. It doesn't affect everyone the same way. Some of us it affects more than others. But when all of society is calling you something that you're not, that you know that you are not, it can have a significant negative effect.
So what's people? But you're not going to change everyone's opinion, and this is the problem as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to change everyone's opinion, but I can change some people's opinion.
So this isn't. I mean, this is never going to end, then, is it? You're always for the rest of the transgender women, transgender women and transgender men. It's going to be the same for the rest of their life. They're going to feel the same because
I will not stop fighting until we have equity.
But do you really think that's going to happen with everyone in this world?
Not with everyone, but I can change it for a lot of people. I can have an impact. I can change people's minds. I can make sure that we have access to gender affirming care. I can make sure that we have access to public spaces. I can make sure that the trans stigma is not allowed to spread.
Yeah, I mean it would. Yeah, I mean if people wasn't, if everyone agreed, great, we wouldn't be having this debate. But there is a lot of people with strong opinions on what a woman is and what they think about all these other genders.
Right, but just because I can't convince everyone doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying. Thank you so much.
I mean, good. Yeah, good for you. If you want to keep trying, and if that's, I mean, I'm sure you inspire a lot of people.
I get messages on the daily saying, "Hey, you changed my mind today."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you educate a lot of people, including myself. But yeah, I don't think there is a lot else to say other than I think it shouldn't be this topic, really. But if there's other people that want to come up, I don't mind leaving, because I don't know what else to say on the topic of a necessary condition to be a woman.
All right. I mean, you're welcome to drop. You're welcome to hang out as well. I do have two other people requesting, which I can bring up right now. Savannah and Morgan. Hello, Savannah.
Hello.
How old are you, please?
Yeah, I'm 24.
Fantastic. And are you opposition?
Yes.
Fantastic. How you doing, Morgan?
I'm good.
How old are you, please?
I'm 18.
Fantastic. What year were you born?
2004.
And are you opposition?
Yes.
All right, we finally got a stack of 6. It took freaking, how long did it take? It took an hour and 12 minutes. We finally got a stack of 6. Okay, whoever would like to continue talking is welcome to do so.
I just have a comment on something you had said earlier about the whole period thing and the having babies, saying not all females can, do that, but it's created for all females to have periods and give birth. So if they're not able to, I feel like that's something that's medically wrong. I wouldn't say that they're not female just because, they can't do certain things that females are classified to be able to do. It's usually there's something wrong. Yeah,
Like sir, typically a female can give birth, but not all. Some are born without the parts. Some are infertile for any number of reasons. And
and that means that
there's
there's
nothing
something
wrong with these
medically
people. They
wrong.
simply they're just different. There's nothing wrong with being different.
But
It's a
they're
variation on being female.
but they're like supposed to have periods and give birth. So if they're not able to do that, then that means there's something wrong.
Does that make them any less of a woman?
No, I didn't say it does, but
Sure. I am a woman who is born without the ability to give birth. There's nothing wrong with me.
but I would say that a woman is classified as a female. Like if you're a female, you're a woman, and that's just I feel like
Generally,
that's the way it is.
generally, if you are a female, you are a woman. But if we're going to use being female as the necessary condition for being a woman, then what about intersex people? What gender are intersex people?
Like I don't understand why you keep bringing that up. Like intersex people have both, so they have the ability to be female and male because they have both.
No, intersex is a different sex. They are not male. They are not female.
I mean,
But what does
that's what I said.
But what does
Intersex.
intersex have to do with you? They have those parts. You don't. I'm just confused.
Not always. Intersex people do not always have the parts necessary for giving birth.
But you keep bringing up intersex, but you're saying they're
Yeah.
intersex because female and male are both involved. But what does that have to do with you
No,
as
intersex is
a
a third.
born male?
Intersex is an additional sex. It is not male. It is not female. It is not the same sex.
And everyone's saying chill out. Like you guys are saying this is supposed to be a debate. I'm just saying what I think.
I'm sorry. What was that? I was distracted.
I'm just reading the comments. But yeah, that's what I'm just saying. Like females are supposed to give birth and have periods, and if they can't do
But
so,
not
then
all
that's
can, and they're not less of a woman
that's
for
why I
that.
was finishing what I was saying. If they're not able to do so,
They're not less of a woman for
I
that.
was finishing what I
Someone
was
get a
saying.
phone
If
call?
they're not able to do so,
Hang on, everyone mute up. Everyone.
someone get a phone call.
Is it Savannah? I think it's Savannah. Savannah, what I need you to do is go back to your phone's home screen and then come back into the app. That will clear the echo. You don't have to leave the live. You don't have to exit the app. You just have to go back to your phone's home screen and then come back in.
I'm not saying all people want to have kids. I'm just saying like there's a purpose behind everything. That's why there's female and male. That's why they were created differently. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, we evolved differently. I wouldn't say we were created, and I don't think we have it is not automatically our purpose to give birth. For some people it is. Some people it's not.
No, I'm not saying like it's the purpose because not everybody wants to have kids, but things are made that way for a reason. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, things like a uterus evolved to carry a child, for sure. But again, not all women have uteruses. Not all women have, some uteruses are not functional for one reason or another. That does not make them less of a woman. Therefore, having a uterus or being able to give birth is not a necessary condition for being a woman.
I didn't say that makes them less of a woman. I didn't say that it was necessary. I'm just saying things are created to be like that. And if it doesn't work out that way, then something happened.
Sure,
I
something
think
is different. Something isn't functioning the way
wrong.
the way it's
People are
meant to
born
function.
without an arm,
But
and they're supposed to have two arms. Some people can be born without a leg, but you know they're supposed to have two legs. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
I mean, I do have to agree with. I think is it Nicole. I think you are born female or male for a reason.
Why? Okay, what reason is that? What reason is someone born female or male?
Well, that's just how you was made. That's just how it is. You was made to be a female,
Sure.
or you was made
Yeah.
to be a
Some you're born female, you're born male, you're born intersex, and that's that.
Yeah, it's just the intersex thing that's just throwing me and clearly other people off. If you're intersex, you can be a female, a woman,
No.
or a male.
Yes. An intersex person can be a man, can be a woman, can be non-binary. Yes. My question to you is how do you determine what gender an intersex person is?
From whatever private parts they want to keep, or get rid
Okay,
of.
again, it's not a want. What happens is that they recognize what gender they are.
Would you say that most of those people stick with the gender that, especially the people in the amount of intersex people that there is, they still, of course, matter, even though it's a very small amount of people. But would you say that,
1.7% of the population, they're just as common as redheads.
yeah, so would you say that most of those people who find out that they are intersex, they align with the gender that they believe that they were the entire time? Most of the time,
I have no idea what the data is on that.
I just don't get all this like that people think mentally that they are a woman when they were born a male. Or like born a male and want to be a female. I just don't understand how it happens.
It's not a want. It's gender identity develops in the hypothalamus between the ages of 3 and 7. This is true for everyone, for cis people and for trans people. And what happens is that for most trans people, we start to realize that, like, I realized that I was a girl at the age of 4, which is normal because that is when your gender develops.
How do you remember stuff from the age of 4?
Everyone has early memories. My earliest memories are approximately from the age of 4.
But how was you 100% sure at the age of 4?
I'm not 100% sure that it was 4. It might have been 3. It might have been 5.
No, but like, what made you feel so sure at such a young age, I think is what she was asking.
Same thing that makes everyone so sure. It's an innate sense of self.
But I feel like that's developed based on things that you're told. Like for example, your morals in general, the way that you act, the way you communicate, the way you do anything is shaped basically on how you're raised, what you're taught. So my innate sense of self when I was 3 years old, I'm sure it was that I was a girl, but I didn't have the ideas I could be this or that. It was because of what I was raised.
So gender expression can be taught and influenced. Gender identity cannot. Gender identity is innate. It is deep inside you. It cannot be influenced by the outside. Gender expression, meaning if you have long hair, or if you wear makeup, if you wear dresses, that kind of stuff, that can be influenced by those around you.
But I feel like sometimes parents influence it as well. Like I've seen.
Right, that's gender expression, not gender identity. Gender identity is innate. It comes from deep within.
So if you're telling me that if a child's parents was showing them that they can to put dresses on and do the makeup, that's not going to change their mind and force them into it? Because sometimes that is the case.
Right, that would your makeup, the way you dress, that is gender expression, not gender identity. Gender expression and gender identity are different. Gender expression is how you present yourself to the world around you. Gender identity is your innate sense of self.
So what about?
Sorry, go ahead.
What about the parents that then ask children at a very young age, where they probably haven't fully developed? Do you feel like you want to be a girl? Because to me that's inappropriate, and I don't.
That would be them asking about their gender identity, not their gender expression.
Yeah, because I just don't think that's appropriate to know. I don't think it's appropriate to know that if you're a woman or a male at the age of 4.
Were you ever asked if you're a girl at a young age, or were you ever asked if you're a girl or a woman at all?
No, and that's the point. Like, no, I just.
What harm could come from asking that question?
Probably
confusion.
Yeah, confusion at a young age. It confuses kids.
Okay, well, let's stop for a second, and let's say that a parent asks their child, "Hey, what gender are you?" And let's say the child is confused by this question. What happens then? What happens to the child?
Well, they probably very distressed. I mean, I would be.
So what would happen then is that child would then explore their gender. They might try on some masculine clothing. They might try on some feminine clothing. They might do some boys' activities. They might do some girls' activities, right?
Why would that? Why is that okay though? That's what I don't understand.
It's okay because there's absolutely no harm that can possibly come from it.
But do you think that parents should be teaching children at such a young age that that's okay?
Yep, 100%. Because again, there's absolutely no harm that can come from gender exploration. Thank you
I'm
so
just
much.
curious, personally, I'm just curious on, I think before I've heard you say that you were influenced, that certain things were wrong, but I'm just curious as far as like your memories, as for being vivid or however they are, for knowing your innate sense of self when you were at a very, very, very young age. Were you asked if you were a boy? Did you say that you were a boy? Did
No,
you
I
say
was
that you were a
never
girl?
asked if I was a boy or a girl.
Okay, so can you, if you're able to remember certain things, could you explain somewhat of like, yeah, I know you always say it was just your
Right.
innate sense of
I
self, but
just
like,
I learned that boys don't dress like girls. Boys don't like feminine things. Boys don't play with girls' toys. That kind of stuff.
I
okay,
mean, I've
so
not got children because I'm only 18. I don't want children yet. But by the time I do have children, if I have a boy or a girl and they, at the age of 4, started saying, I want to like wear this dress and I want to do my makeup at the age of 4, I would just think that's just wrong. Like, unless
Why?
I
Why?
would wait, because I think that they don't understand at the age of 4. I think they need to wait
Okay,
until they fully
okay. They may
understand.
not understand exactly what gender is, but what is the harm in a child exploring their gender?
sure,
No,
nothing, but
there's
can
no,
I just
nothing,
ask
nothing, nothing
why is
wrong with
that
it.
considered exploring their gender though? Like if you say that there are certain things that like women have tons of different characteristics. Women can be tomboy, they can be girly, they can do all those things, vice versa. So if you say that there's really no who this or that belongs to, as in wearing a dress, so how is that really even exploring their gender? I mean, I'm sure that there's plenty of people who are, as you would say, cis, but they like things that are technically boy related or girl related.
Exploring gender identity can help. Exploring gender expression can help you understand your gender identity.
Okay.
I mean, I'm happy to let my children explore, but I think that until they hit the age where, and that can go from the age of 14, 15, but I think until they hit the age where they definitely know, then yeah, of course I'll be supportive of them. But I think at
And
the age of
what age?
4,
What is the age where someone definitely knows their gender?
well, I think not until they're at least 15, 16.
Okay, so at the age of 14, you did not know that you're a girl.
No, I knew I was a girl because I got brought
Exactly.
into the world knowing I was a girl.
At the age 13, you knew you were a girl. At the age 12, you knew you were a girl. At the age 10, you knew you were a girl.
Yeah, because this is the thing. I didn't think about these
You didn't think
things.
about it because you're cisgender.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, this school and stuff. Kids think it's okay to become a cat, or
Nope, that's not a thing.
but that is the thing. That's what
No, it's not a thing. You
people are
fell
There
for
doing.
was
right-wing
a
propaganda.
school that was actually in the north that got sued by the family because they identified as a cat and they didn't put a litter box in the school. So there does happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's bullshit. Straight up bullshit.
it's probably not as common, but things like that do happen. You don't recognize
At
any of them?
best, okay, so first of all, anyone who identifies as a different species, that is not being transgender. And anyone who genuinely thinks that they are not human, the treatment plan for such a person is completely different than that of a trans person. So it is not at all related to the trans experience. Not at
So
all.
I got that, and I think that's very valid. Just going off that question though, I just don't understand how, in that case, like you are correct, that's not being transgender. That would definitely be something else. So if that's the case, then why do we use other conditions in your defense in an argument? Like, for example, the treatment plan for someone who is born intersex is much different than what goes on in your life, but we talk
Sure.
about that every
Yep.
time we're on live.
Yeah, being intersex is not being trans. It's different.
Exactly. So why is that relevant and other conditions are not? That's my question.
What other conditions? I believe that everything is relevant in one way or another.
I'm saying as in like the fact of an argument. So if I were to use, or someone on the panel were to use, like people who might have whatever it's called, that they identify as something else other than a human, but that has nothing to do with the trans experience. So
Right. It has nothing to do with being transgender.
So can you explain what has to do with transgender of being intersex or all of the other
Intersex
things that
people
you
can be
talked about?
transgender. Intersex people can be cisgender. Being
Okay.
intersex has nothing to do with whether or not you are or are not transgender.
So then why is that on your method for debate? That's my question.
Because I bring up intersex when people try to use being female as a necessary condition for being woman. And then I ask people what gender are intersex people.
So then I just have some questions, just kind of going off of the way that you respond. So for example, earlier, like you stated that someone was being a bully because they didn't want to agree with what you say. So just a question with
And
that. Like I
validating trans
understand.
identities, especially after you've been educated, is bullying.
Well,
Hi,
I
Mel.
mean,
I
I
saw
get
you.
that
I
because
saw
I
you,
mean,
Mel.
you are a trans person, so obviously someone invalidating what you believe and how you feel as an individual is a serious thing. So I get that. I wouldn't support anybody doing that. But that being said, like, can you explain why it's okay in your mind to post a bunch of things mocking people with all different religious beliefs if you don't?
I don't mock other people's religious beliefs.
Yeah, you do. You call them wackos and all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff
you
all
said
over
multiple
your.
times that you're like vastly against religious people
Yes, I'm
and
extremely against religion.
Which is fine, but then
I don't
you're.
mock it,
Is
though.
that because you're a Satanist?
Yeah, I'm a Satanist.
So is a Satanist meaning that you like pray to devil and stuff?
Nope. I'm a member of the Satanic Temple. The Satanic Temple is non-theistic. We do not believe in Satan. We do not believe in God.
then why is it called Satanist?
Because I
The
thought
purpose of the Satanic Temple is to uphold the separation of church and state. And it's my theory. I don't know this to be true. It's my theory that they name themselves Satanists as a way to draw the ear of religious organizations that are trying to violate the separation of church and state. Because there are churches that are trying to get the Ten Commandments put on government property, which is definitely a violation of the separation of church and state. And so when that happens, when churches end up being able to put the Ten Commandments on government property, the Satanic Temple comes in and says, "Hey, if you're going to put their commandments on there, then you got to put ours on there too."
Well, I
Nonetheless, this is
definitely
not
learned
really a
something
topic that
new.
I'm
I'm
interested
not
in
sure.
talking about too much.
so.
I don't want to go too deep
Okay.
into this.
So if you want people to agree that you're a woman and understand and be educated, why can't you then understand if religious people don't want to do that?
Don't want to do what?
If religious people can't believe that you're a woman, or if
Yeah, so I respect a person's right to practice their religion until that religion is used in a way that harms other people. And if religion is used to invalidate trans identities, then that religion is doing harm. And I will not just sit back and say, "Oh, you practice your religion however you want." No, when you do harm, I will hold you accountable.
Right, but if
I'm just
someone
saying though
silently
that
invalidates your existence as a woman, like how is that bullying or like transphobia if they're not actually directly doing any sort of harm to you? Like they're not vocally expressing anything, they're not physically doing anything, they're not
All
that's
bullying.
something in their
Bullying is
head.
not always physical. I would say it's usually not physical. Bullying is usually
Right. I'm saying that if they're
emotional.
not emotionally, like if they're not saying anything to you, if they're not addressing you directly
When
in any
someone
way.
outwardly invalidates trans identities, that is harmful. That does harm.
Yeah, but people invalidate all the time about different things, not
Sure,
just
and
gender,
that's
right? Like
harmful.
there's so many.
Yeah, but there's
Sure,
like
it's harmful, but it's reality. Like it happens regardless of whether we like it or not. Like there are ways that I'm invalidated every single day. I think people can all agree that they feel invalidated in one way or the other. But like, why is it that against trans people or just like silently invalidating the
Thank you for
trans
the sub.
community,
Appreciate
like
you.
how is that?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
I'm just curious how like silent it's not even invalidation. It's just like, okay, I don't necessarily accept like this community, but I'm not doing anything to actively oppress them. I'm not proactively
Yeah, when
like
you don't
working
accept
against
us,
them.
you're
I'm not
causing
bullying.
harm.
Well,
When
we
you
don't.
deny a
But
core part
but
of who
like
I am, that is harmful.
I
How is
understand
that
that, but
harmful? I
but
don't.
if it's an opinion that I'm keeping in my head and I like right, I'm
If you keep it
opposition
in your
here,
head,
but
fine, but you're not keeping it in your head right now.
I understand.
But
I'm simply
I'm
asking
just curious
questions. You
as
wanted
to
opposition.
Right,
yeah.
that is true. I am looking for people who disagree with me, but that doesn't mean that what you're saying is not harmful.
But
I
how
understand
could
that, but
like
and I understand, sorry. I understand that some people, are harmful or they are rude and they are this and that or they come on here and say absolutely horrible things. Like just because I don't agree with everything that you say, I would never come on here and talk down. I would never wish negative to you in life. My question is just that it just kind of seems that whether you think that you're mocking or not, yes, people in the comments saying it is being religious is a choice, this and that, it's a belief.
Yeah,
I
being
get
religious is
that.
a choice.
But at the end of the day, like you don't think that there's many people on here that would support you, me being myself, or would back you regardless of their opinions in a public setting. You don't think that it's harmful for them, that people that are trying to show you love and support that may have beliefs that are religious and that are not planning to do harm or don't do harm to you. You don't think that the comments that you
Impact
make
over
about what
intent.
they believe
The
is
person may not
disrespectful?
plan to do harm, but the intent, but the impact can still be harmful.
But you don't think that that makes an impact on those people, that just because some people that are religious may wish harm or may wish different things on you, that all of us go in the same category, which is confusing to me because you say that when people or trans people, which is very rare, that do different crimes or do these things, they don't represent the entire community. So why is it that that's how you act when it comes to people of religion?
I don't have any issue with people practicing their religion in a way that's not harmful.
But I'm saying you having such a public, like you have a large platform and you calling them names or referring to us as
I don't call them
wackos or
names.
nut jobs.
I don't call them.
You
I
don't
don't
say
do that.
You've never
I do
said
not call religious people wackos.
I have literally saw a video from like 2 days ago where you called religious people nut jobs or wackos or one of the two.
DM me that video.
Okay, I will.
That
But
video either doesn't exist or it's doctored. One of the two.
well, it was a video of you, whether it was deleted or not now, but definitely was there. So I'm just curious
I
on
do
that
not call
because
religious people wackos.
So
okay.
just to just confirm. So you think bullying transgender people is people that don't agree? Is that right? So if you,
Invalidating trans identities is harmful. It's not
so
automatically bullying, but when a person has been educated about how they're being harmful and they continue to do it, then yes, it crosses the line into bullying.
So yeah, but bullying in my eyes is if I came on here and started calling you slur words. That's bullying. And if I did that for a period amount of time,
Yeah,
that's
slurs,
bullying.
using slurs is bullying.
Yeah, that's bullying. Having an opinion, however, and if you've got an opinion for a reason, that's not bullying.
Opinions can be used to bully.
If you
Right, but having an opinion, whether you agree with it or not, doesn't automatically make them wrong, correct?
Sure. I mean, we can disagree about pineapple belonging on pizza, and yes, it does. Anyone who disagrees with pineapple belonging on pizza is wrong. But that's what an opinion is. An opinion is something that doesn't have a right answer. There is a right answer as to whether or not trans people are valid, and the answer is yes, we are.
But
Right, but that's your opinion. Okay, so like my thing is you ask for ops on the panel. So you have ops. Like what is your perception of us as quote unquote ops on a panel? People who are going actively against you in this conversation. Like
I like to
what
hope
would
that
you
most people that are ops are simply ignorant and and need to learn a little bit, which is always okay. Ignorance is a natural state, and if a person comes in willing to learn and listen, then I have no issue. It's when people continue to hear what I have to say and make no efforts to learn or do better, that's when I take issue.
So how could somebody do better?
How can someone do better? By listening to what I have to say, by trying to understand, by learning to validate trans identities.
I'm still here. I'm like listening to everything that's going on. I'm just waiting until this whole religious debate thing is done so I can ask my questions.
Jay, you are welcome to butt in anytime.
I know I'm not rude or anything. I don't want to like go off subject of what you're talking about or discussing. Like I'll wait
We're already
until
way off subject.
yeah. All right. So real quick, like, can I just ask this question real quick, like on just you directly?
Yep.
So you asking the question, what is a necessary condition to being a woman? Can I, if the tables were turned and I asked you, what would your response be?
Yeah, it's a persistent innate sense of self. If you have a persistent innate sense of self that says that you're a woman, then you are one.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. I get it now. Okay. But as far as the whole, like the only thing I got to say as far as the whole religious thing is, it's to me, in my opinion, I'm not a religious person. I'm not atheist. I'm not Satanist. I'm none of that. I'm not Christian, Catholic. My whole family's Catholic. I was born Italian. That's how I was raised. They have their own beliefs. They have their own way of looking at things. They're old school. I get it. I understand it. I have no problem with gay, lesbian, intersex, bi. You can be whatever you want to be. That's totally on you. I respect you for who you want to be. That's fine. You know, my whole debate on what was going on earlier, and some other lives that I've been in with you was like, you know, what bathroom, for example, like what bathroom do you use? Do you use the women's bathroom? Do you, like you personally, would you use the women's bathroom or the men's bathroom?
I use the women's.
As my, well, I know that, but my thing is that, you know, I live in Philadelphia. I don't know if you're familiar with it, or been here or anything, but I also live in like a small town in Philadelphia that is really commonly known for, you know, gay, lesbian, transsexual, you know, like I lived here my whole life. I see it every day I walk at the door. I have customers and clients that I deal with on a daily basis that are all shapes and sizes, you name it. And I don't judge anybody. You can be whoever you want to be. I've had personal experiences with the bathroom situation because I have two daughters where my issue is that, and I've had altercations over the years because I have an 18-year-old of my daughter walking into a bathroom, and then I've seen a grown man in a dress, beard, facial hair, everything, disrespectfully walking into a woman's bathroom, and I have to stop and correct them based off of their appearance.
You are definitely out of line stopping someone from doing that. Women can have beards. Women can be tall. Women can be any number of things.
Hold on, let me finish what I was saying.
Yeah, you said you stopped. You said you stopped someone who was otherwise doing no harm from going into a bathroom.
But the thing is that I just had come out of the men's bathroom while my daughter was going into the bathroom, and the person that went into the woman's bathroom was leaving the men's bathroom in men's clothes and putting on a dress and a hat and walking around and circling around to go into the woman's bathroom. That's where I drew the line.
Okay, I have absolutely no way of confirming what you said unless there's an article. Nonetheless, that's at best an anecdotal situation.
But otherwise, do you, man? I mean, if you want to go, you know what I mean? If you want to go in the woman's bathroom, I'm not going to stop you unless something like that happens. And that happened, and that's, you know, that's where I had the issue. But, you know, that's where it was left.
And
it happens a lot. It happens a lot. Stuff like that happens a lot around here.
I doubt that. If it happened a lot, then there'll be evidence. Someone's a dress and pattern. Huh. 666 people watching, guys. How appropriate. Hail Satan. Jay, if you want to make the claim that that trans people having access to the spaces of our identities poses a threat to cisgender people, then I need you to back that up with evidence, not just an anecdotal story.
If you give me some time, I'll find it. I mean, it wasn't recently. It was a few years ago. But I'm sure if I dig around, I'll find it because it wasn't like a news article or anything. But if I contact the people that I was with around that time when it happened, I'll gladly share screenshots and the conversations and everything that you want with it.
And I understand that cisgendered men, cisgendered women, trans men, trans women, like everyone has the capacity to commit a crime. I just think that sometimes people do take advantage of claiming that they're part of the trans community and then take advantage of that to take advantage of people. And
Okay,
that has
so
happened multiple times in
who's
my county.
speaking? Oh, Keish. So, Keish, if someone dresses up like you and then commits a crime, are you responsible for that crime?
No, and I'm not saying that trans people should take responsibility for like one person within their communities, like criminal behavior. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think that unfortunately the trans community, I feel like, can be viewed as a dangerous group because certain people do take advantage of like, and they claim to be part
Whoa.
of the trans community to,
Whoa.
no, I'm not saying,
You're making
sorry.
a wild, highly offensive claim.
No. I worded that incorrectly. I'm not saying I think what you think I'm saying. I'm saying that some cisgendered people take advantage of the trans community by labeling themselves as trans so they can have opportunities to go into certain bathrooms.
Okay, I'll say the same thing that I said to Jay. If you're going to make this claim, then I need evidence to back it up. Not anecdotal
Totally.
evidence,
You
not
can
this one
Google.
person. No,
Yep.
well, fine. What should I Google?
Loudoun County.
So in Loudoun County,
LOU.
there's a bunch of people in Loudoun County that are pretending to be transgender.
Well, it's happened 3 times by the same offender.
So that's one instance then. It might be 3 separate things, but it's one person, one single person who is not transgender.
I think that's what I was trying to
Sorry.
get at. Like, I'm not saying that trans people are deviants or criminals.
Okay.
Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, like, there are so many instances, and I think that we talk about it, like, that.
I can give you an instance of a cisgender woman who did a bunch of bad stuff.
I said it, I prefaced my entire conversation by saying cisgendered men, cisgendered women, trans women, or trans men, trans women. I say that, like, everyone, if they want to commit crime, they can, right? Like, and I'm telling you right now that Loudoun County literally, the school board tried to like silence the father of the victims because of this, because it involved.
This is still anecdotal. This is one example. I need more than one example. I need a study that shows that this is widespread and happens consistently.
I think the point is, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think what she's trying to say is that whether or not there's studies, it still can be dangerous. There still can be people that
Sure, people do bad things.
Yeah, there still is people that are dressing up as women and going into female bathrooms, and then probably claiming they are part of the trans community, which is completely out of order, and they shouldn't be
Upside
doing
down smiley. If someone dresses up as you and commits a crime, are you responsible for that crime? Should you be punished for that crime?
No, definitely not.
Okay. So when someone dresses up as a trans person and commits a crime, should the trans people be punished, or should the person who committed the crime be punished?
The person who committed the crime, but that's the whole point. People are taking advantage of the trans community to do these things. That is the point.
So what you're saying is that the trans community should be punished for crimes that other people are committing.
I don't think that either of us are saying that. I think that we're saying that, like,
that's literally exactly what you're saying. You're saying that trans people should not be allowed into the spaces of our identities because other people are committing crimes.
I'm saying that
while dressed as us.
I think that people have a heightened fear of actual trans community members entering their bathrooms because of isolated incidents that have happened, that continue to happen across the country because of certain people. And I'm not saying that it's like the
If it's
trans
happening
community's
across the
fault.
country,
I'm
then
just
it's not
saying that, like,
isolated.
okay, but you told me that my story is anecdotal. You didn't even look it up. Like,
I mean, I
happens.
believe you. I believe that it happened. I could look it up, but I believe you.
Okay, I appreciate that. And all I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying that the trans community should be punished. They should not be. I'm just
So
saying
then
that I
what's your
think that that's
proposal?
why
Why are you bringing this up?
because I think that there's like when people make the what bathroom do you go into argument, it's because of this heightened fear. It's going to happen regardless, right? Like if any person wants to go into another bathroom to potentially violate someone else, it's going to happen. But what I'm saying is, I think
Exactly. If someone intends to cause harm, they're going to do it.
right.
We
But
can't
all I'm
punish the
saying is, I
innocent
think
because of them.
I think
all I'm
this
saying is,
all
I
leads.
think that that's why that there's this I think that's why people have this fear of the trans community entering female restrooms or male restrooms if they're trans men, like
Who commits the majority of violent crimes?
probably men. Probably
Cisgender
males.
men. Cisgender men. Correct. Cisgender men. And some of that crime is done in men's restrooms. Men commit crime in men's restrooms. Should cisgender men be banned from men's restrooms?
What? No. No.
Of course, that would be silly.
Never mind. I wasn't speaking from like my own perspective. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. Like I don't feel passionate. I don't feel passionate one way or the other. Like I'm not gonna fight.
I do. I do feel passionate about this because there are approximately 18 states. I don't know how many. There are many states that have bathroom bans. Florida is one. I have friends who literally can get a felony offense for using the restroom of their identity. Their choice is risk going to the women's bathroom and get a felony, or go into the men's bathroom and risk assault. That is their choice in Florida.
Okay, but I've got something to say about that. So if they went into the female's bathroom and the women's bathroom, and they, you know what we all know what a female looks like. I mean, you can tell when someone's female, and they looked female and went into the bathroom. How would they know? How would they get prosecuted?
You don't. So the rule in Florida is if you are asked to leave a restroom, you must do so, and if you don't, then you get a felony.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if they look like a female, the part, then they won't get asked to leave the bathroom. Surely.
So you have to pass in order to use the women's restroom. And by the way, that's not what the law says. The law doesn't say that you have to pass. The law says that, as I understand it, the law says that if you are asked to leave the restroom, then you must.
And anyone can report that?
Okay, so what if, so me, just a cisgender female, if I went into the female's bathroom in Florida and I get asked to leave, but I prove that I'm a female, then what?
Well, does that go for men and women's bathroom? I'm sorry, I heard the
for
last
both.
part of that.
For
So
both.
like if they tell you, if a man, if somebody walks into the men's bathroom and they think that, you're of the opposite sex or whatever, and they ask you to leave and you don't leave, you can get a felony for that in Florida?
Yep. And other states have other various bathroom bans as well.
Okay, and I'm just saying this because I'm op, but like, doesn't that mean that it could apply to cisgendered people too?
Yes.
Yes.
So
how does that work?
it's just like it's a very flawed law. Like I don't.
Exactly.
I mean, I
It's
understand
extremely
that,
flawed.
and I understand inherently it probably comes from like a transphobic lawmaker who got it passed, but like that does harm both cisgendered and transgendered people. Like it's not just transgendered people who can be hurt by that law, and that's what I'm trying to say.
These laws that are being pushed forward that are intended to harm the trans community also hurt the cis community. For instance, the gender affirming care bans also affect cisgender people. Things like breast augmentation, things like mastectomies, things like for instance, a boy can have gynecomastia, which is when a boy develops breasts. And having those breasts removed is gender affirming care. So these bans, these laws that are being targeted against the trans community hurt everyone, not just trans people.
Okay, but I have a question. So you went and got the breast implants, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
A week and a
then,
half ago.
okay.
Mhm.
So my question is, even if you're saying that in Florida, that if someone goes in and they look like a woman, or they can like get a felony for going in if they believe that they're not in the correct bathroom, correct?
Yes, I don't know all the specifics of the law.
But how are you supposed to prove that? Like, how are you just supposed to like show them that you have the correct genitalia to go in the bathroom? Like, that doesn't make sense. How would you
Yeah,
get
I
a
agree.
felony
The
for
law makes no
you?
sense. I don't know all the specifics of it, but the law is just completely nonsensical.
Okay, so then why is the like so what I'm not understanding is then why is everyone so upset about it if it's like not the law, nobody understands the law. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's a law that never should have been put in place. It was a law that was designed to harm trans people, specifically trans people, and it benefits nobody.
But why is everybody so upset about it if there's no way to prove that you're not, if
Because
you're a
it can
woman or a
cause
man?
immense harm. People can literally go to jail over using a restroom.
Yeah, but what I'm not understanding is why is everyone so upset about it if there's physically no way to prove it? So, like, it's like impossible to prove that
If
you're
I
a woman
understand the
or a
law
man.
correctly, the law just states that if you are asked to leave the restroom and you don't, then you are trespassing.
I don't think. I think the bathroom situation is if you look more feminine, then you're more than likely not to be questioned going into the women's restroom. I
Oh,
think
so you have to pass in order to use the women's restroom.
no, and this is the problem. You shouldn't have to have a pass to go into a bathroom.
Agreed.
But this is why I believe that people. This is why it's a problem. That I think is because people obviously have their own styles, have their own looks, do look the way you want to look. I couldn't care. But this is why people are getting arrested in Florida because they're going into women's bathrooms and they don't meet the standards of looking feminine. I think that that's not what I look at it like, but I think that's what other people look at it like, and hence why you probably get reported.
Is there any benefit to banning trans people from using women's restrooms? Is there any benefit at all?
No.
From using the restrooms of our identities?
No, and I don't think there is.
Fantastic. We're in agreement.
So
yeah,
my
I mean, I think I don't have anything. I don't really have anything left to say other than it's just sad.
I agree. Okay, we're on the same page here.
Yeah, I mean,
It's very sad.
Yeah, I think the whole thing of this is that it's just sad. It is sad that you can't walk into the women's bathroom in Florida. I mean, it's not like that over here, and I don't want to put my shoe. I don't want to step in your shoes and know how that feels because it is sad. But that's just unfortunate, and people are just idiots, really. That's all. I think people just need to get a grip. So I would say that I do agree, and I do think that yes, I'm going to say that I'm not even an op no more. I think I've come to terms to realise that I think yes, you should be allowed to use any bathroom you want, and that's a big problem that Florida, America in general, needs to sort out, and they need to sort it out quick because I think it is a problem.
All right, I'm so glad that we made some progress here. Upside down smiley.
Yeah, I think that it is a problem, and I think everyone else should just leave people alone. I think that's it, really. So, yeah, you can drop me and add someone else in because I don't think I have any more. I think there's no point in being an op. It's not going to get you anywhere if you are an op. You're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to... It's just sad. America is just sad.
Yeah.
And it needs sorted.
Yeah. That is the truth. That is the truth. We're trying to fix it. We're trying.
Yeah, America. I mean, I love America. I've been over a few times, and I've only seen the parts of like Disney World and Florida and all these things. You don't actually see what goes off in America because I'm just a tourist to America. I'm not an American, so. But yeah, I think it is just sad, and I don't really have any more to say about it. Apart from, I can only apologise that that's what you have to deal with, and hopefully it gets sorted for you. And that's it, really. That's all I've got to say.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Upside Down Smile.
No problem.
Okay. I am going to take this as a chance to. We're going to end here on a high note. It's been 2 hours. We've been doing 1v6 for 2 hours. My throat is hoarse. So, yeah, I'm going to end this now. Thank you, everyone, for coming up. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.